The knock came at 12:47 a.m. 3 taps. Not frantic, not timid, just deliberate. Elijah Boone opened the door, stared into a face he didn't recognize. Young, hard-set jaw, dog tags around his neck. But the eyes, those eyes, they belonged to a man Elijah hadn't seen since 1997. The stranger didn't introduce himself, didn't ask to come in. He just said, "You left my father behind." Elijah didn't blink, didn't deny it, just opened the door wider and said, "Then I guess you've come for the rest of me." Some ghosts knock softly. Others send their sons. "Thank you for being here." Some stories don't seek justice, only memory. And if this one finds you, maybe it's because you've carried something too. Stay with us. It's time we talked about what never made it home. Gabriel sat at Elijah's kitchen table, didn't touch the coffee, didn't take off his jacket, didn't ask to stay. Elijah poured his own cup, sat across from him, silence thick as steam. "You look like him," Elijah finally said. Gabriel didn't blink. "He died in the dirt." No one flinched, not even the floorboards. Elijah stirred his coffee, not to cool it, just to give his hands something to do. "I was his commanding officer," Elijah said. "But that do mean I commanded what happened." Gabriel's voice was flat. 28 years, no letter. No explanation, no body. He leaned in. "You ever look his kid in the eye before tonight?" Elijah met his stare. "No." Gabriel looked around the cabin. Photos on the walls. Quiet, simple life, everything in its place. "You got to come home, raise a family, sit by a lake." Elijah shook his head. "No family, no kids, just ghosts that don't sleep." Gabriel pulled something from his jacket. A photo. Creased, old, color fading. A young man in uniform, smiling with a baby in his arms. "My mother never remarried. She kept this in her wallet until the day she died." He slid the photo across the table. Elijah didn't touch it, just looked, then said, "Marcus was braver than anyone gave him credit for." Gabriel leaned back. "Then why'd you leave him?" The clock on the wall ticked. Once, twice. Elijah's voice dropped. "Because if I hadn't, 5 others wouldn't have made it out." Pause. "And I couldn't carry 6 coffins." Gabriel stood, hands clenched. "I didn't come here for math." Elijah didn't move. "You want me to say it was wrong?" He nodded. "I can say that." Gabriel didn't sit, didn't speak, just stared at the door like it might explode if he didn't leave now. Elijah added, "But I can't say I regret saving the men who lived." Silence again. Then Elijah said, "There's a place I want to take you." Gabriel raised an eyebrow. "Where?" Elijah stood. "To the place I last saw your father." The drive took 4 hours, mostly silence, just gravel under tires, and the occasional rustle of wind through tall grass. The gate to Fort Davison leaned sideways, rust streaks, barbed wire curled like broken handwriting. Gabriel looked at the ruins. This was a base. Elijah nodded. "Once." They walked through what remained. Concrete outlines of barracks. Half a comms tower. Bullet holes that never got filled. Elijah stopped beside a cracked cement slab. "There." He pointed. "That's where it happened." Gabriel crouched. The ground still bore scorch marks. Old, faint, but real. "This place was under blackout," Elijah said. "No GPS. No backup. Just a recon unit and a decision I didn't have time to second guess." He inhaled. "Incoming fire from the West Ridge, 3 men down. Marcus and I were behind that bunker." He pointed to a collapsed wall. "I gave the order to fall back. Marcus said, 'You go, I'll cover.' I said, 'We go together.'" Elijah's voice cracked. "For the first time in hours, he shoved me. Told me, 'One of us needs to tell the families what happened.'" He looked at Gabriel. I thought he was bluffing. Gabriel stared at the bunker, quiet, still, then asked, "Did he ever fire back?" Elijah nodded slowly. "He bought us 6 minutes. Pause. That's how long it took for the rest of the unit to escape." Gabriel walked toward the wall, ran his fingers along the concrete. Dust stuck to his skin. He didn't wipe it off. "You left that out," he said, "from your Medal of Valor citation." Elijah sat down on a cracked foundation beam. "I left a lot out." Gabriel turned. "You ever go back for him?" Elijah didn't look up. "We tried 3 times. By the time we got clearance, the site had been stripped. All we found was a boot and blood on a torn sleeve. Silence, wind picked up. A shutter fell from a half-standing shed and clattered to the ground. Neither of them moved. Then Gabriel spoke. "I thought I'd hate you." He swallowed. "I told myself if I ever saw you, I'd make you feel it." Elijah looked at him now and said without flinching, "Then feel it with me." He stood, pointed at the dirt. "This is where my silence started. You want it gone, then dig here, not to punish me, to remember him." Gabriel crouched again, ran a hand through the soil, found nothing but earth, still warm from the sun. He whispered. "His name was Marcus Elijah Harlow, named me Gabriel, said it meant messenger." He looked up. "Maybe I was supposed to bring something back." Elijah answered softly, "Maybe you were." The sun dropped behind the hills faster than expected. By the time they returned to the truck, the engine wouldn't turn. Dead battery, no cell signal, just the crunch of dry leaves and the slow understanding that they'd be here all night. Elijah pointed toward a broken structure at the edge of the field. "Supply cabin," he said. "Used to be stocked with rations, probably empty now, but the roof held." Gabriel shrugged. "I've slept in worse." They lit a single lantern Elijah kept in his gear bag. It flickered yellow against cracked walls and peeling paint. The air smelled of cedar and memory. Gabriel sat on the floor, back to the wall. Elijah leaned against a beam, hat tilted low. The silence was not comfortable, but it was familiar. After some time, Elijah said, "He didn't die angry." Gabriel didn't answer, just waited. "Marcus," Elijah continued, "knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't confused, wasn't panicking. He looked up. He told me, 'Somebody's gotta go home and explain this. Might as well be you. You got the words.'" Gabriel spoke now, "But you never did." Elijah nodded. "I wrote hundreds of reports, letters, condolences." Pause, "But not to you." Gabriel reached into his bag, pulled out the old photo again, held it between his fingers. "My mom used to say, 'Your dad saved lives,' but she never told me how." Elijah whispered, "Because no one wanted to tell the other half." They sat for a long time. Then Elijah stood, walked to a shelf at the back of the cabin, dug through a half-rotted crate, pulled out a small, sealed tin box. "What's that?" Gabriel asked. Elijah didn't answer right away, opened it slowly. Inside, a folded paper, dog tag, a torn patch of sleeve, and a letter. He handed the paper to Gabriel. "I never opened it," Elijah said. "He asked me not to, said it was for his boy." Gabriel took the letter, hands shaking, opened it carefully, read silently, then aloud. "Dear Gabriel, if this finds you, it means I didn't come home. But that doesn't mean I'm gone. You carry me, every breath, every choice. I didn't want to leave you, but I wanted to leave something better. And if there's anger in your chest, let it burn, but don't let it harden. Because the man reading this, he made sure the rest came back. That counts, even when it hurts. Dad." Gabriel's voice broke on the last word. He folded the letter gently, pressed it to his chest. Didn't cry, didn't move. Elijah whispered, "I wanted to tell you, but I didn't think I deserved to." Gabriel looked at him, tired but not bitter. "Maybe you didn't, but I did." They sat in the dark, until the lantern went out. The morning was colder than the night had warned. Mist rolled low across the ground. As Elijah and Gabriel stepped out of the old cabin, no words, just boots crunching frostbitten grass, and breath fogging in the early light. They reached the truck, still quiet. Elijah turned the key. The engine coughed, then caught. Gabriel leaned back against the window, letter still in his jacket pocket. They drove in silence for a while, the road winding out of the hills, back to where memories were buried deeper. An hour later they pulled into a cemetery just off Route 12, small, mostly forgotten. Some graves still marked with wooden stakes, but one stood out, newer, marble, simple. Gabriel stepped out first, walked toward the headstone. Elijah followed slower, stopped a few steps behind. The name read, Marcus Elijah Harlow, 1971, 1997. We remember not how he died, but how he lived. Gabriel knelt, took the folded letter from his coat, laid it at the base of the stone. rested his hand on the cold granite. Elijah stepped forward, removed a small velvet box from his coat pocket, opened it. Inside, a tarnished silver medal with blue and white ribbon. He set the box beside the letter. No words. Just the gesture. Gabriel stood, looked at him. You don't want to keep it. Elijah shook his head. I've kept it too long. The wind stirred. Dry leaves skittered across the stone path. No one else around. No trumpets, no flags. Just truth standing still. Gabriel asked quietly, do you think he'd forgive you? Elijah took a long time to answer, then said, he already did, I'm the one who didn't. They stood there another 10 minutes. Then Gabriel turned. I'll drive, he said. Elijah handed him the keys, didn't argue, as they pulled away. The camera would pan back. Letter, metal, stone, 3 things, 1 memory, finally named. The house was quiet when Elijah returned. Dust settled in corners. Light slanted through the blinds. He hung his coat on the same hook, kicked off the same boots, but nothing felt the same. He walked to the bookshelf, ran his fingers along the spines, stopped at a wooden box wedged behind a row of faded war memoirs. He hadn't touched it in 20 years. He brought it to the table, opened the lid. Inside, 1 photograph, edges curled, black and white, 2 men in uniform. Arms over each other's shoulders, dust on their boots, smiles not fully formed, but real. Elijah stared at it for a long time, then wiped the glass, carried it to the wall above the fireplace. There, already hanging, photo of his old squad. His mother, his first dog, he hammered in a small nail, hung the frame, stepped back, didn't salute, didn't cry, just nodded once, like finally acknowledging a conversation. He'd been too ashamed to finish. That night he sat by the window, watched the wind move through the trees. Somewhere out there, a boy had gone home, with a letter in his coat, and somewhere inside Elijah, something had settled, not forgiven, not erased, just placed where it always should have been. Some ghosts don't want revenge, they want witness. And some stories don't need closure, they just need a place to rest. We all carry names, some we speak, some we bury. But the ones that matter most are the ones we're finally brave enough to say aloud. If this story stayed with you, share the name you carry. A father, a friend, a name the world forgot but you never did. Leave a comment below. We read everyone. And if you believe in stories that honor the forgotten, if you believe in quiet courage, in truth carried across decades, you're in the right place. We invite you truly to subscribe and join us, because the next name we remember just might be yours.